Okay, we're back. Music education, or let's just say music in educational situations in schools, public schools. It's not like it used to be, is it?
No, it's not. It's not being supported as much financially, which is one of the reasons why whenever I've been in the high school, I've always tried to organize a group that could go out and make its own money. But a lot of times we are our own worst enemy because people realize that we buy more into our subject than what the English or the math teacher does. So we have no problem going into our pocket to make sure that our program or a certain student is going to be a success. We are going to make it work regardless. Whereas a English or a math or a science teacher, 3 o'clock, they're in the car going home. You know.
And so how long has it been that music has not been in the curriculum at your school?
Oh, music is at the curriculum in Dunbar.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. As a matter of fact, the reason why I was placed at Dunbar several years back is because they decided to become a citywide school, which meant that the population was going up. So they had to have other subjects in to take the other classes in while they were taking math and science and English and all that.
So is what you teach different than what you did in the past, or?
No, I made up my mind a long time ago. I'm going to teach instrumental music. A lot of principals I've worked with have tried to get me to teach general music, which is teaching out of a book. The rationale I use is that the best way to teach about music is to put the horn in the student's hand, teach them how to play, and then they can explore all of the things behind music with an instrument instead of listening to a CD of Bach and Beethoven and seeing the notes on the board say that gets 4 beats. That use it so that it becomes a part of you. I was lucky in that the principal at Dunbar, when I was first placed there, gave me $1,500. So I was able to go around to pawn shops and get instruments which were nominally bothered, and I could pay out of that to have them fixed. So I built up a large cadre of instruments.
And the youngsters can get to use them, and the same instrument inventory stays from year to year.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes. A lot of them have been given to the school. So like last week I went to a Goodwill store. I'm always hunting out the Goodwill stores. I think I probably inherited that from Langston. And I was on my way out and I saw a trumpet, and the case was battered. And I said, so I walked over there and asked how much the trumpet was, and they told me $50. I noticed that the spring was broken on the water key, and a couple of other minor things. That's like a $400 trumpet for $50 that somebody had in their attic that their son played, and they were probably moving and just had to get rid of it. So I hit Salvation Army and the Goodwill stores every week now, along with the pawn shops, to find instruments for the kids to play.
If a lot of people are most likely going to see this video.
1400 Orleans Street. Please call me. I will come and pick it up. Not a problem.
Is there a phone number?
Yes, but I can't remember the phone number offhand.
But it's Dunbar
Senior High School.
Senior High School,
Yes.
1400
Orleans Street.
Orleans Street,
Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore, Maryland.
21231.
Okay.
If you have any instruments, if you're in Philadelphia, if you're in Timbuk 6, I'll come and get it.
Okay, that's a good thing to know. So the youngsters are continuing to learn there. Now, other schools I understand that there've been some cutbacks. So
Yes. It's like it's basically hanging on by a thread. If your program is a success, it's definitely up to you to do it. And the rationale I've always used is try to get the kids out to perform as much as possible. Not only jazz, but brass ensembles and concert bands and all that. Because there's a lot of people in the city that think that the only thing I do is jazz. But you can't survive in Baltimore being just a jazz musician. I played in churches, I played in marching bands, I played in concert bands and classical bands.
why is that, considering that Baltimore has had such a rich history, a jazz history especially? Why is it that one can't earn a good, decent living as a jazz musician here?
Because of the support I have found. And I've also found that I have only known very few musicians who have been full-time musicians. They either teach as I do, they work in the post office, or they have other jobs. There's a gentleman that passed a while back, vibes player. His name is Jimmy Wells. He was like one of my mentors, which like actually helped me as far as voicing chords and improvisation and all that. He is the only person that I know of offhand that was a full-time musician throughout his entire life. He worked at PBS as a contractor for a while out at Maryland Public Television.
So, and when you say a full-time musician earning their living principally in the city or in the region?
Right.
Right.
Not unless you're in the symphony. And even then, a lot of those people teach at the school for the arts, or they teach privately. Now, of course, you have Gary Thomas, but he's teaching at Peabody. You have Warren Wolf.
Right.
I just heard where he's in Kalamazoo, Michigan, running around the block and going to the gym before coming back.
Yes, yeah.
And Chris, I'm sorry, I forgot my
Right.
son Chris.
But they're touring, essentially touring
Yes.
with other groups.
But
Yeah.
Chris also does websites. He went to Howard and got a degree in computer technology, so
Okay.
he's doing websites. But he's a full-time player.
Why jazz?
Because of its creativity. That's the one music where you are allowed to recreate the song which you're playing. It's Barry Harris, the piano player. He told me once at a concert I played with him, he said, when you're a jazz musician, you are an instant composer, because as soon as you start soloing, you are creating a brand new song based on those chord changes. With classical music, that's interpretive music. You have to play it exactly as it is, and the only person that can make any changes is the conductor, and that's only from the tempo and interpretation. You can't change notes and put some substitute chords in. But with jazz, once you play footprints or A train, the rest of the song becomes your oyster, and it's up to you to create a pearl, hopefully, at the end of your solo.
Right.
If not, you try it again the next night or the next time that you play it. But it's mainly because of the creativity involved in it, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
Well, freedom has a cost.
Oh,
in
yes,
essence,
yes.
Right.
Right.
A price, I should say.
It's funny. I taught drama at a middle school, and I did this skit on slavery, and I was comparing slavery now to slavery as it is today. And I was making the point that in order to be free, you have that responsibility of getting a job, doing the right thing, so forth and so. And it's the same thing playing jazz. You have to learn. You have to know chords, scales, patterns. You also have to listen to people that play your instrument, listen to other people that don't play your instruments. Like Dexter Gordon said, you don't just walk up to a tree and pick a style off of a tree. You have to plant that seed inside of you and wait for it to grow. And then by copying other people, your own style comes out of that. And it's a lifelong battle. It's like the never-ending book. You're picking up this book and it gets better. You turn the page and it gets better. You know that you're never going to get to the end of it, but each page it like gets better and better and better, and you just can't put it down.
What can people expect on, your group is performing on August the 7th at the Anacostia Art Gallery and Boutique in Southeast DC. What are they going to hear? What are they going to see?
They're going to hear Ellington, they're going to hear Basie, they're going to hear Earth, Wind and Fire, they are going to hear vocalists. I might even throw in a little bit of a history of jazz thing, or explain the song that we are playing and where it fits into the history of jazz, because unfortunately due to my parents, I'm always going to be the educator.
Right.
And I think that that's a job that a lot of musicians have. You have to enlighten the audience, or else we aren't going to have an audience.
That's
You're not
true.
going to have one. And you also have to create the people to play this music also.
I've in some last year we did a series at the Reginald Lewis Museum, and it was about Baltimore jazz legacy. So there were people
Yeah.
who had been performing. Greg Hotza, Arnold Sterling,
The Wild Bunch.
yeah, Carlos Johnson, and they all Sheila. They all gave a lecture. They started off by talking about what they were doing, and why they were doing it, and how long they've been doing it, and obviously in the process they mentioned a number of different venues in which they performed in. So people got a good sense of why they are here now,
Right.
doing what they're doing now. And then they went on and performed, and it was an excellent. The presentations, all of them were excellent. I mean, people got a chance to laugh at anecdotal stories
okay.
and all the rest of that. So I mean, I like that idea of the mixing of the lecture part combined with the music
yeah.
presentation as well.
I've been doing a thing ongoing. It's been like kind of a mission in that I try to take people that say that they don't like jazz, and after maybe about half an hour playing, they turn around and claim that it's not so bad after all, because I've explained to them, you don't learn to appreciate jazz by listening to John Coltrane or Ornette Coleman in the later half of their lives. And I always use the example of Quincy Jones' Walk in Space, Killer Joe. I start by playing that. And once I see the foot tapping, and as Duke Ellington called it, the left earlobe tapping on 1 and 3 and snapping one's finger on 2 and 5, I got it. I got it. And I tell them, jazz is just like food. You've got thousands and thousands of different meals. And with me, I did not like Brussels sprouts as a child. I tried them as an adult. I still do not eat them, but at least I tried them. Jazz is the same thing. You have thousands of different styles of jazz. One should be able to fit into your pocket.
That's a good place to end. Thank you.
My pleasure.